Imagine a king so deformed that courtiers whispered he was bewitched by sorcery, his body twisted into a living nightmare, his mind trapped in eternal childhood. Yet this pitiful figure held the fate of one of history's greatest empires in his frail hands. Hi, history lovers, I'm here to bring you the chilling tale of Charles II of Spain, the last Habsburg king, whose grotesque deformities from centuries of royal inbreeding doomed not just his life, but the mighty Spanish Empire itself. Born into unimaginable tragedy, Charles's story is a horrific blend of physical agony, political chaos, and a dynasty's fatal obsession with pure bloodlines. But was he truly cursed by fate or by the sins of his ancestors? Stay tuned as we unravel the dark mysteries of his reign, the scandals that horrified Europe, and the cautionary legacy that echoes even today. If you love these gripping dives into royal tragedies, hit that subscribe button now for more. Let's uncover the truth together. Sha. To truly grasp the horror of Charles II's life, we must journey back to the glittering yet rotten core of the Habsburg dynasty, a family that ruled vast swaths of Europe for centuries through cunning marriages and unbreakable alliances. Picture this. It's the late 17th century. Spain is still clinging to its fading glory as a global superpower, its coffers drained by endless wars, colonial rebellions, and the extravagant court of Madrid. The Habsburgs, originating from Austria, had intermarried obsessively to keep power within the family, uncles wedding nieces, cousins binding to cousins, in a twisted bid to preserve their divine right. As one ambassador noted in his dispatches, the Habsburg blood runs thicker than water, but at what cost? Charles II was born on November 6, 1661, the product of this genetic nightmare. His father, King Philip IV, was a notorious womanizer whose reign saw Spain's decline amid the 30 Years' War and economic ruin. But the real scandal lay in his marriage to Mariana of Austria, Philip's own niece, making her both aunt and mother to Charles. Spanish royal genealogies, meticulously recorded in the archives of the Escorial, reveal the extent. Charles had only 4 unique great-grandparents instead of 8, his inbreeding coefficient rivaling that of children born from sibling unions. From birth, the signs were ominous. Chronicles describe him as frail, with an oversized head and the infamous Habsburg jaw, a protruding mandible so severe it prevented him from chewing properly. Physicians' diaries from the royal court, like those of Dr. Valesca, noted early on, the infant prince drools incessantly, his tongue too large for speech, his legs bowed as if crushed by invisible weights. Raised in isolation amid the opulent but stifling Palacio Real, Charles's early life was shrouded in secrecy and pity. His mother, Mariana, acted as regent after Philip's death in 1665, when Charles was just 4, but whispers of illegitimacy swirled. Some claimed Philip's impotence meant Charles was fathered by a courtier, though genealogical records debunk this myth as mere political slander from rivals. Instead, the truth was far darker. Inbreeding had ravaged the line. Foreshadowing the tragedies to come, Charles suffered epileptic fits and constant illnesses, his body a fragile shell. As a Venetian envoy wrote in 1668, "The young king is more ghost than man, his eyes hollow, his movements labored. Spain trembles at what this portends." This was no mere sickly child. He was the embodiment of a dynasty's hubris, setting the stage for an empire's collapse. But as we'll see, his rise, or rather his painful stumble, to power would expose horrors that shocked the continent. Now, let's delve into the heart of this tragedy, the twisted path of Charles II's so-called reign, a saga of deformity, manipulation, and dynastic despair that crippled Spain from within. Picture a boy king ascending the throne at age 4, his coronation a farce, amid gilded halls where courtiers masked their revulsion behind silk fans. Charles's disabilities were no secret. Physician diaries detail how he couldn't walk unaided until age 6, his speech a garbled slur that made diplomacy a nightmare. "What words escape his lips are like those of a beast," one French ambassador cruelly reported in 1670, highlighting how Europe's powers circled like vultures, sensing Spain's vulnerability. As regent, Mariana navigated a court rife with intrigue, but Charles's condition fueled endless scandals. His first major crisis came in adolescence, the pressure to marry and produce an heir. In 1679, at age 18, he wed Marie-Louise of Orléans, a vibrant French princess whose letters home reveal her horror. "My husband is a pitiable creature, his jaw so malformed he cannot kiss without pain, his body frail as glass." Their union was childless, infertility blamed on inbreeding. Charles's autopsy later confirmed malformed genitals and undescended testicles. But it gets worse. Rumors of impotence led to bizarre rituals, including exorcisms where priests declared him bewitched. Debunking the myth of demonic possession, modern analysis of royal genealogies points to genetic disorders like Klinefelter syndrome or pituitary issues, effects of the Habsburgs, 16 intermarriages over generations. Politically, Charles's reign was a shadow play. Unable to rule effectively, epilepsy left him bedridden for days. Power fell to favorites like the Duke of Medinaceli and later John of Austria the Younger, whose corruption bled Spain dry. Key events unfolded like a tragic opera. The 1680s saw devastating floods and plagues, which Charles, in his delusion, attributed to divine wrath for his sins. "God punishes me through my body," he reportedly confessed to confessors, as recorded in clerical journals. His second marriage in 1689 to Mariana of Neuburg was another disaster. She, ambitious and domineering, clashed with the court while failing to conceive. Imagine the royal bedchamber, a king writhing in pain, his wife plotting alliances, all while Spain lost territories in wars like the 9 Years' War, 1688 to 1697, where French forces ravaged Catalonia. The drama peaked in the 1690s with diplomatic machinations. Europe's monarchs, Louis XIV of France, William III of England, schemed to partition Spain, knowing Charles's heirless state spelled doom. His infertility triggered a crisis. Physicians prescribed absurd remedies, from goat testes potions to love philters laced with viper venom, as detailed in Dr. Guille's diary. These only worsened his health, causing hallucinations and swelling. Picture Madrid's streets, peasants starving amid economic collapse, blaming the bewitched king for their woes. Charles's decisions, like allying with France against England, accelerated decline, leading to colonial losses and treasury bankruptcy. Through it all, his physical agony mounted: gout, edema, constant diarrhea, turning him into a recluse. As one courtier wrote, "The king is a prisoner in his own flesh, his empire crumbling as he decays." This wasn't just personal tragedy, it was the catalyst for Spain's fall from superpower status, setting the stage for the explosive climax that would reshape Europe. And now we reach the harrowing pinnacle of Charles II's cursed existence, a slow, agonizing descent into madness and decay that not only shattered his body, but ignited a war that engulfed Europe. By the late 1690s, Charles was a spectral figure, his deformities amplified by relentless illness. Physician diaries paint a gruesome portrait. His Habsburg jaw so exaggerated that he could scarcely close his mouth, drool mixing with blood from ulcerated gums, his tongue swollen, rendering speech a tortured mumble. "The king resembles a monster from ancient tales," confided a Bavarian envoy in 1698, as Charles's legs, bowed and inflamed with gout, forced him to be carried like an invalid through the palace. The climax built relentlessly. Infertility haunted him, Despite 2 marriages, no heir emerged. His semen described in medical reports as watery and barren. Desperate, courtiers turned to quackery. In 1698, exorcists performed rituals, claiming demons possessed him, but sources like the papal nuncio's letters debunk this as hysteria, attributing symptoms to genetic hydrocephalus and endocrine failure. Pain became his constant companion. Edema swelled his abdomen to grotesque proportions, while kidney failure turned his urine bloody. Imagine the royal apartments, dim-lit chambers reeking of decay, Charles writhing on silk sheets, whispering pleas for death. "Why does God prolong my suffering?" he reportedly asked his confessor, as recorded in Jesuit archives. The ultimate tragedy struck in 1700. Facing extinction, Charles named Philip of Anjou, Louis XIV's grandson, as heir, a decision forged in isolation amid hallucinations. But was it coercion? Conspiracy theories abound. Some claim French agents poisoned him with mercury-laced cures, yet autopsy evidence points to natural causes, uremia and sepsis from organ failure. Tension mounted in his final months. Bed sores festered, infections raged, his body a battlefield of pus and fever. On November 1st, 1700, at age 38, Charles expired in agony, his last words a faint murmur, "I am nothing." Witnesses described the scene, courtiers weeping not for love, but fear, as his death triggered the War of the Spanish Succession, a 13-year bloodbath claiming over 1 million lives. In death, as in life, Charles was no king, but a victim, his tragic end a stark emblem of inbreeding's cruel toll, leaving Spain fractured and Europe in flames. The legacy of Charles II endures as a haunting cautionary tale, a stark warning etched into history about the perils of dynastic obsession and unchecked power. His death didn't just end the Habsburg line in Spain, it shattered an empire, ushering in Bourbon rule and reshaping Europe's map through the Treaty of Utrecht in 1713. Spain lost Gibraltar, Sicily, and vast territories, its golden age forever tarnished, a direct ripple from one man's genetic ruin. Modern genetics confirms what contemporaries suspected. His inbreeding caused profound disabilities, a curse of science, not sorcery, influencing studies on consanguinity today. Yet pop culture often twists his story. Operas like Don Carlos romanticize him as a tragic hero, while films portray him as a mere fool, ignoring the human agony detailed in physician reports. Hollywood gets it wrong by glossing over the brutality. He wasn't comical, but pitiable, his infertility a symbol of decayed aristocracy. In my opinion, Charles's life teaches resilience amid suffering, but also the folly of purity at any cost. What a profound lesson for our divided world. What do you think? Was inbreeding the true villain, or political greed? Share below. From a deformed infant doomed by blood to a king whose death ignited wars, Charles II's story is a tragic reminder of how ambition can twist fate into horror, a dynasty's pride birthing its destruction, leaving an empire in ruins. His life of pain, infertility, and isolation warns us power unchecked breeds monsters, not just in body, but in legacy. Thanks for joining me on this dark journey through royal tragedy. Keep exploring history's shadows with me. If this gripped you, like the video, subscribe for more tales of horrific reigns and forgotten scandals, and hit the bell to never miss an upload. Comment your thoughts. Was Charles cursed or condemned by science? Share with a history buff, and for exclusive deep dives, join my Patreon, link in description. Check my Habsburg playlist for more inbred horrors. Next time, the mysterious death of a Tudor queen that changed England forever. Until then, keep learning.